So the next task in the project is going to be about testing, okay? And that's what we are going to cover today. So just the introduction, general introduction to testing. We talked about it a little bit early on when we started to introducing Python as a language. If you remember, when we talked about how the if statement could be messed up when you don't create a proper alignment, right? If you don't align, if you don't put the proper indentation, the if statement might be misunderstood and it would be executed sometimes properly, sometimes not properly, right? So this kind of situation needs to be revealed through testing. Okay, so just a general introduction to the testing task. Now, generally speaking, testing is part of a quality assurance process. Now, it's not the only thing that happens during quality assurance, but it is one of the important tasks in quality assurance. Okay, now you see, there was a study that found that in the average professional programmer, not a beginner, not a student, a professional programmer, would leave 15 to 50 bugs in every 1,000 lines of code. Okay, that's the professional experience. Programmer would leave between 15 to 50 bugs every 1,000 lines of code. All right. Now, how do you think? How many lines of code do you think in an average course? Now, everything has some code in it now, including partially, not completely, even if it's not completely self-driving, partially, like there's an automated cruise control on a car. What do you think the number of lines of code there? How many lines of code do you think in the average cruise control software in a car? Yes. 2,000? No, let's go higher. Higher. At 60,000? Go higher. Yes? 1 million? You're getting close, but still higher. It's still higher. There is hundreds of millions of lines of code in just the average control system software. Okay, so these are things accumulating over several years. Now imagine how many bugs are there. Now we're talking about 15 to 50 every 1,000. So how many bugs are there in hundreds of millions? There are so many. Now we can't say, like, we cannot claim that a software is 100% free of bugs, but what we can do is to try to test as much as possible to reveal as much as possible of these bugs. Okay, so that's all what we can do. There's one famous bug that was actually triggering the advancement in the software in the software testing. There was the like in a medical situation. So the Therac 25 was a computer-controlled radiation therapy machine. So it was used in atomic energy, like it used in radiation therapy. All right. So there was a few bugs in this machine that led to actual like mistakes in the doses of the radiation. So that led to serious health issues, including fatal issues. Okay. Now, when people examined these the mistakes that led to this situation, they found that they are not difficult to fix. It's just they were not revealed. Okay, they were not obvious. There was not deliberate effort of trying to reveal the problems. Okay, so the problems remained in the system when it was in production and it was used for health reasons and led to the catastrophes. Okay, now it can be fatal. All right, now even now we have robotics everywhere. We have software, we have code in almost every aspect of our lives. It is very important that we try to reveal as much bugs as possible before it becomes really problematic. Now that's one end of the spectrum that when like when the software is used in serious situations like this. The other end of the spectrum is things that we see every day. So that was not my story. It was a story of someone else. But like they placed an order and then asked for similar items. Okay. So that was a grocery order. Now, what's the problem there? What do you think? Do you see a problem? Yes? Three chickens? Yeah.
Zero.
Yeah, okay, so that's one issue. Yeah, zero. Why is it zero? Could be three. Good for you, though. Good for you. Good eye. Now there's another issue. So you're ordering grocery, right? And this is substitution. So items out of stock. Yeah, salami out of stock, and then substitution, like I said. So I actually have experienced this kind of problems before, didn't you? Have you seen any bugs? What kind of bugs what kind of recent bug did you see? Do you hear of or seen or hear about? Yes.
It wasn't.
It was okay. They added it to the yeah. 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 So still see there's a bug there. I'm sure it was tested, but this particular bug was not revealed in the testing. Have you seen other bugs or heard of other bugs? Do you hear about the airplane that went down in over Ethiopia, I think? There was a bug in the autopilot that led to the plane to crash. It was in the news like a few years ago. Yes. Yeah. Okay, so they just forgot to switch the units for the measurement of. So you see how trivial could be? It could be really trivial, but the effect is huge. Okay, so if they just were able to reveal this issue before we send it to production, it is not difficult to fix, right? It's just the effort that they put into revealing the bugs was not sufficient. Okay, so there's a whole range of problems that can happen. The least of it can be just like a silly mistake like this. The worst of it could be like a real fatal issue. And if you are like eventually you are going to write software in engineering applications and engineering projects usually have some serious implications. Okay, so testing is a very important thing to think about. Now, there are various levels of testing, and then there are different types. Now, the levels of testing is based on how much details you're seeing. So the lowest level is the unit testing. So, or the white box testing. So white box means that you see what's in it. So you look at the code and you plan your testing based on the code. Okay? And then there is the little bit higher is the integration. So unit testing, let's say our unit is a function. Okay, you can define the unit the way you want. But let's say a unit is a function. The integration testing would be testing how different functions work together. So the unit testing of a function is testing the functions, the code inside this function, whether it returns the correct thing or not. Right? The integration testing that is right above this unit would be testing whether the functions work together properly. Okay? The black box testing is that, or the system testing, you don't see the code at all. You don't look at the code at all. You test the system from the engineer point of view. Okay. Now, if we do enough of this, it is crucial that we try to reveal as much problems as possible. Now, the problem, we definitely have to test while we are developing, right? But while we are developing, we try to prove that the code that we wrote is correct. And that's not the purpose of the testing task. The purpose of the testing task is to figure out where the problem doesn't work. The testing is successful when you find bugs, right? Now, when you're testing your code, you're trying to prove it's correct so that you can move on. That's a completely different purpose. And that's why it is usually recommended that someone else do the testing, not the developer. Because the developer has a bias and wants to prove that their code is correct. And that defeats the purpose. Okay,